There we go. Good. All right. I don't know if anybody's come in here yet or what's going on. It's just two watching.
Yeah, they're gonna come in anytime.
Oh, that's cool. So how's the weather down there in Texas?
90 degrees today.
It's pretty warm here too.
Yeah, it ain't bad. Well, I'm kind of glad that the rain stopped a little bit, so I'll be picking up real soon.
Hey, Desiree. Desiree's down in Florida. She's up in the top of Florida, up near Tallahassee, up near where
Cool.
not Stevie String. Stevie String's Tampa, but she's up near where Stacy Brown's from.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, well, Stacy Brown. He, I know he's been doing a lot of things here lately with Bigfoot too. But down where Des is, they call it the Skunk Ape.
The Skunk Ape. Man, it's pretty ironic how different states call it different things.
Yeah.
You know, like Louisiana calls it the Aru.
No, the
And
Larugaroo. Right. The
yeah,
Larugaroo or
yeah.
something
And then
weird.
down over here in the 1700s, the Spanoles called it el fantasma negro, basically means a black ghost.
Huh.
And other places like in a small little town in Berkeley, Texas, they actually call it the Monkey Man. So I mean,
That's
they all had different names for it.
Yeah, see now where I grew up and all, it was called the Wood Booger, and and actually it was the whatever of the booger, the boogeyman.
Yep.
The Wood Booger. My grandmother was real funny about that. Get in before before the sun goes down, and that Wood Booger's gonna get you. And that was a old thing.
Yeah, I mean that is so true. Man, Shaky, that's so true. He goes, well, the boogeyman's going to get you, or whatever's going to get you.
Yeah.
And I had this story where these old timers when they used to have had outhouses and stuff, and that they would be so scared of going to their outhouse because they would actually see this creature sometimes when they go to the bathroom, actually real close to the outhouse.
Wow.
Yeah. And
And I know
we're talking about maybe like the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
I told you this before, but I'm gonna just say this because of the people watching. There used to be a show on TV, and I don't know if it's still on, and I called Railroad Alaska. And the people that lived out in the boondocks of Alaska would have to walk through the woods when they get to the train track, and they would actually flag the train down like a taxi. The train would see them as it's coming and would stop, let them get on. One at the train station, it is like that today. That's how it is. The train will stop, they'll get on, pay the money, and ride to town on the train.
Wow.
But this one guy said that he had to get back before dark, and he even talked about it in the show. He talked about how he got back late one night and was stalked by a Bigfoot going through the woods. So,
Yep.
up in Alaska, man, it's really, really desolate up there, and I'm sure there's somebody up there that is dealing with these things on a regular basis daily.
Right.
And whether they have a good relationship or a bad relationship, I'm sure it's a relationship of some kind there that nobody knows about or they don't talk about.
Right. It's like for me here, it's I don't know what it is with this thing. It knows where I live. It knows where I work, and he always does little stuff to mess with me. I don't know if you saw my Facebook
Same
page or
here.
not, dealing with
Same here, brother.
those sandballs.
No,
And
I couldn't see it. Tell it because I got like 6 people watching now. Tell us about that because it takes hands to make what you're talking about. So go into detail about what you found.
sure. Normally, I work cattle over here in Normanna, Texas, and I had some Bigfoot experiences down out here. And I've actually found mesquite trees that are twisted up and everything like that. And I would know where it normally stays at when we're actually hunting. And I said, man, because every single day is again when you're dealing with Bigfoot and stuff like that type deal, everything has to be dealing with a routine. It's something that happens every single day that does not change. And then if he's around, he's gonna know, hey, so and so is over there at 6 to 6:30. Let's go see what he's doing, or just keep an eye out for it. So I went out there to go check out the water trough and everything. And Lord and behold, we have sandy loam down. So I mean, it's just like powder, a sandy powder. And then I went out there and I actually found these balls that looked like snowballs, but they were actually made like a circle, and they were like stuck together. And I was looking at the photo and everything like that type deal. If you actually look at it, it actually looked like if they were trying to make a foot with these little balls.
Wow.
And I was going, this is odd. So I went up there and snapped a picture of it because the only thing that can make these little balls like that, especially hold them together the way that these things are, is by pressure and also with two hands. So, and the thing is, again, you're looking at it. You sometimes, again, you have to look at it scientifically, and that's the only way that we can catch this thing is dealing with scientifically. If it was a bigger Bigfoot, the
Right.
balls would have been a lot bigger because of the size of their hands. Because on this one up
Right.
here, I actually picked one up and actually, it did not break in my hands, but it was very odd. And I placed it down where I
Well, that's
actually found it.
compacting. Something had a lot of strength to compact it. Like like a
Correct.
pill, like a machine that makes pills works under pressure because pills are actually powder that's
Correct. And then
compressed
so
into
what I
that
did
pill.
was
So if you found
so
something
uh,
that's made
so
out
uh,
of
exactly. So what I did was I placed it down there. I said, man, I got to take a photo of this thing because it's. And then the very first thing came to again. You have to listen to your inner voice. And then the very first thing that came to my inner voice was, man, a juvenile did this, or something small did this, because by the size of the little balls that they actually made. Again, but it's very. I've been living in these places out here for years, and I think I've seen it all. But there's sometimes that you see certain things is out of the ordinary, and yesterday was definitely out of the ordinary.
yeah, no doubt. Hey, Baldy, let me change subjects real quick if you don't mind. Um,
Sure.
Rusty Pepper is in the chat. Rusty, I owe you an apology. I did that prayer today on my on this channel live, and for some reason your name wasn't on the list. I really apologize. When I did the prayer the second time on my channel, on the other channel, Stevie P, I did include you, but Grandma, I call her Grandma. I want you to know that I'm truly sorry for that. That was not my intention to miss you the first time, but I'm glad you're here tonight, and thank you for coming. All right, Baldy, I'm sorry. But
That's
Baldy,
okay.
we talking about Bigfoot, it's kind of weird because I've had two incidents. Well, one incident where one, I knew it wasn't what I thought it was. I heard an owl off in the distance. You can hear that owl, and owl makes that hoo, 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 hoo. But this had a deeper tone to it, had a weird tone to it. And so I started doing that back. And I mean, right here where I'm at on my porch. And it was coming closer. Every time it would come closer. And I kept doing it. Hoo, 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 hoo. And finally it got, I mean, within just inside the woods here. And I went hoo 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 like that. And it went hoo 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 hoo. And I was like, wait, that ain't no owl. Oh no,
Yeah.
no. And that ain't no bear.
Yeah.
No. I
Oh, let
mean,
me tell you one
it's
thing, Shake It. I had there's sometimes also too when you're out here, um, and I don't want to give the location where
no, that's
yeah,
fine.
where I stay at sometimes,
Right, I
but
guess I agree.
but the there's sometimes also too is again everything again is routine. It knows when you leave, by the slamming of the door. It knows your vehicle, the sounds of the vehicle makes, and we're basically its entertainment.
Sure.
Excuse me. And at night is basically when they feed, and again, I mean, they basically know you. And there's sometimes when you come up there and you listen to the animals, and very well, we all know that Bigfoot mimics the animals. I mean, it mimics everything. And
Yeah.
there was one particular day. Well, my dog's named Spud. So I went out there and I started calling Spud, and Spud didn't come out. And I said, "Man, where's this dog at?" So I called him again, and nothing, nothing. And then all of a sudden, in the woods, I heard something say Spud. I said, "All right." So no wonder why it's budding coming out. So, yep. Again,
Papa, they
he
have
in
vision. They can see during the day, but I believe that they have a better night vision. It's like deer. You see deer in both day and night, and I think they have a lot of the same vision. Now, Baldy, yeah, may correct me on this. Gorillas don't have white of the eyes, do they?
I don't think they
Isn't there a
do.
difference? Isn't there a difference between humans and gorillas? Because a gorilla doesn't have whites of the eyes, but I believe Bigfoots have whites of their eyes.
See, the thing is, again, this is my theory and this is my belief, and
Well, that's all we can go by because we don't have a body to scientifically say yes or no to anything.
yeah,
So
it's like,
that's
for example, we have a chin. We have a
right.
chin, and Bigfoot has a chin as well.
Yeah.
Again, this is my theory, and there's some scientists that basically are backing me up what I said. And that's the way that they pronounce their vowels, E, I, O, and U. But Bigfoot has a problem with the word M, the letter M, for some
Huh.
reason. And then so gorillas have a sac underneath their throat area. Same thing like
Yeah.
chimpanzees and everything like that. We humans do not have that. I believe also that Bigfoot does not have that as well.
Hmm.
So that's the way that they communicate and everything like that. So again, I believe that they're so super similar to humans. And
Right.
then whatever gorilla has, and you look at a Bigfoot, so you're going to look at a Bigfoot more closely to a human. And if you look at it, even the stuff that the Bigfoot does, the characteristics of the animal, I mean, we see this all the time. The structures that they make, and the structures that they make, they're actually like structures that Native Americans actually built. And
Okay.
when we were small, they actually
Well, I
taught us how
remember
to.
you sending me the picture of that hut
Yep,
you had found.
yep,
And Baldy, I'm going to drop the link because Papa Rock is putting out some good, talking about some things that may help it. And I'm going to let some people come up that want to get
sure.
involved in the conversation and may have questions. I just kind of have been holding off a little bit just so we can get things started. But I'm gonna let some people come up and talk or ask questions, or we
Yes,
can have a
sir.
discussion. All right, there's the link, guys. If anybody wants to come up, I got room for 6, so 4 more can come up right now. And we can, if it's something you want to talk about, you're more than welcome to come up more to talk about it. But yeah, and it's funny, Baldy, because I had told you a while. I don't know how if you remember this, but I told you a while back when we would come in our road, we were a mile off of any asphalt. We're in the woods. But if we came in at night, you would hear, if we passed a certain spot, you hear that whistle. Something would whistle like
Yeah.
a person. It would be a whistle. It would be just like if a person went, like it was
Yep.
warning and letting them know we were coming in the road. And
Yep.
and one night I got home and I smelled a musk, and that musk was not bear. I know what bear smelled like. It was nothing I smelled before, but it was a real strong musky smell. So I'm wondering if it was up here snooping around and it got the warning we were coming in hard ass because we knew it knew.
See, shaking also too. Again, they're their their characteristics is again more like Native American Indians, right? Because
Drop
the
the
way I
link
see
again.
it's like this. It's
There's the
like when
link.
we were in battle,
Yeah.
and we were in the woods, everything like that type deal. The way that we communicated with each other in the woods, we made animal sounds.
Right.
And
Right.
then one of us had a certain call, and then
Yeah.
another one had a certain call, and another individual had a certain call.
Oops, wrong hand.
Hi, Miss
And
Pepper. There's a fellow Texan.
all right.
Hey, Baldwin.
Hey, how you doing, Grandma?
I'm
And
blessed
then
by
so
ministry. How you doing, grandson?
doing good.
That's,
And
hey,
then so we all had our own individual calls,
Right.
when we were in
Right.
the battle. And like that, nobody could come up there and can mistake us on somebody else, getting with this war party. So
Well,
again, our communications have always been dealing with animal sounds and whistling sounds and things like
Well, a
that.
lot of people don't know that movie Wind Talkers was based on a true thing. Native Americans had their own way of doing that, and it was used during the war, so the enemy couldn't figure out what was being said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Native American Indians have their own sign language, and
Okay.
a lot of the stuff what they actually use in the war. So
Wow.
we did so much stuff, and I believe me personally, that's how Bigfoot basically can communicate out there in the
Sure.
woods.
Sure.
Again,
Hey, Pop.
hey Pop, how you doing?
Hey,
And then
bye.
after that, when you pass, they're making sure that they know that you're hitting home.
Right.
So
Right. And I'm a firm believer. Those tree knocks are communication, and those whoops are communication. And when these fools go in the woods hooping and knocking, they don't know what they're saying to these things. They could be they could be being an aggressive thing, and these things can come back and really do damage to them for doing it. People don't know, and experimenting on things like that is not a good thing to do with something you don't know nothing about.
It's awful dangerous.
That's my opinion, but I just don't believe in doing it. If you're going to go out, like Baltimore and I talk, I bet you at least, if not once, twice a week, if not more, on the phone. And I'm telling you, these things to find the Bigfoot is like looking for an escaped convict. You're looking for something that does not want to be found. And when people have an encounter with them, it's totally on accident. It's just something that a freak of thing that happens.
Well, hey, Shay. Now,
Yes.
is that one of the reasons why you moved up there?
No, it had nothing to do with why I moved here, and I didn't even know they were here until I moved here. I always thought, and everything I ever read was Bigfoot was out west, was out in the Rocky Mountains or out on the West Coast. And then the more I got digging into it, I found that there were more sightings along the East Coast than on the West Coast.
There's been sightings in the Appalachians too.
That's where I live, in Appalachians. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a hotbed along here. It's crazy.
Well, almost any mountain range that has the thickness of a forest, it has the ability to home the Sasquatch.
Now here's my issue about people saying it's bears. If you've ever seen a bear stand up, bears are very long torsoed creatures with very short legs.
Yep.
And they have a very fast little stance because they have to move those little legs fast. If you've ever seen a Bigfoot, or you hear people describe the Bigfoot, they have a very long stride, and their head doesn't. And their head does not bob. They have a very even flow to them. They glide. That's how you tell the difference between a bear and a Bigfoot. So if somebody says that thing had a long stride and had long legs, that ain't no bear.
Read what Mary just said.
They're in Michigan. Yes, they are in Michigan. And that's also, now I'm not a firm believer of the dog man, but that's also believed where the dog man is Michigan. No, that's Wisconsin. I'm sorry. But it's also Michigan. But Wisconsin was Bray Road. But I don't know about the dog man thing. I'm more inclined to think the dog man is a Bigfoot with a muzzle like a baboon is, primate wise. And I'm also inclined that the Bigfoot and the human, the only difference between the two is not the DNA, but is the number of chromosomes in the body. I think the chromosomes is what separates the two of us, and it doesn't have to be much,
Shelly asked, I got to turn off my magnifier, but she did ask, are they friendly?
Baldy, you want to answer that?
Well, I'll tell you like this. They'll make you know who's boss. Put it that way. I've actually had a tree stand up in a certain area, and I had a certain tree stand up there. Hold on, my truck. And sure enough, and then
I'm hearing music. Is you, Baldy?
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear a lot of music.
Oh, wait a minute. Right. Let me turn down my TV. I've got the Chosen on.
I heard music playing. That's why I didn't know if it was your truck or not, if you had the radio on.
No, I've got the Chosen on. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Right. Shame on you,
so I heard a deep breathing sound when I was actually on top of a tree. And so, make a long story short, I was up there for a few minutes, and the deep breathing sound happened, and then I took off back to the house because I was actually photographing wildlife. And then so when I came back 2 days later, the tree was knocked down. So
Wow.
basically, I was evicted from my place. But the thing is, again, it's like if there's a juvenile close by or baby close by, and the baby gets too close to the humans, I think it would be an instinct
Oh yeah.
reaction for
Right. Just
for
like
them
any
to
other
take it
animal.
down.
Right. Just
Yeah,
like any other animal. Um,
exactly.
um, Real life with Michelle. Rob is right. In Ohio, it is called the grass man because it was known for living or being seen in a lot of big grassy
Yep.
fields.
Yep.
So that is correct in Ohio. Smell and banging. I saw all
Is
of
that
this.
better?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Um,
went, I went and muted.
but now I'm gonna say this. I believe they're very curious creatures. I believe they're very curious, and I believe that as long as a boundary is set that you don't cross, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think that they will watch you and study you, but I think if you cross a boundary and force yourself onto them like any
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
animal, I think we're talking about something that could be anywhere from what 6 to 9 feet to 10 feet tall and weigh anywhere from 300 to 400 pounds up to upwards of 800 pounds. You know, I think and any animal can go rogue. Any animal can go rogue,
Yep.
but
Yep.
but I don't think that the majority of them are out to hurt humans. I think they
No.
just might want to be left alone and mind their own business.
I believe they study humans like we study them.
Sure, they're curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be kind of weird? You sitting on your front porch out there somewhere is and behind a tree is a Sasquatch watching you.
And they do that. They'll get
They do
behind a
that.
tree and they'll peek around and they hide. They're great at camouflage. They're
Yeah.
awesome at camouflage.
I don't mind them coming around me. I just don't want them to scare the daylights out of my boy. I take him out there walking at night for his last walk, and it would be a nice walk with Sasquatch. It would be. I would feel that Rusty and I would be protected as long as he
Oh yeah.
scare Rusty.
Look, no, I don't. I was hoping I had that picture still, Baldy, that you sent me. I don't have it of the trail cam, the arm that you had sent me with the fur
Oh
hanging
yeah,
down. Because that was a great capture. Because that's not a bear, and you can see in the picture that the arm, the hair is like a red, and it almost looks like an orangutan. It's got
correct.
that long hair, and it's a human shaped arm. It's not like a bear's arm.
Now I gotta tell you about that photo, Shaky. I had an eyewitness that actually saw it like pretty close to like around 30 to 40 feet away, not yards, feet. And then
Whoa.
so he described that his body and everything like that, like the skin area where his forearm is a dark brown, and the hair is a reddish in color, just like that photo.
Yeah.
And I went up there and I showed him that photo. He goes, "Man, that was identical what I saw."
Wow.
So he basically made it official from that story that was actually a Bigfoot that he saw, and then it made it official that photo was authentic, dealing with a Bigfoot arm.
All right.
And then
Bob and I,
I've actually sent it to some. I'm not going to mention the person's name here. I did send it to that individual that does a lot of Bigfoot research, and
Right.
comes up and says, "Oh, that's nothing but a squirrel." I said,
What?
"No."
That was not a
Yeah.
squirrel. I hunt
Oh
squirrels.
yeah.
That picture you showed me was not a squirrel.
do you
No, I
think that
agree.
Bob,
But again, it's that I know what it is. You know what it is. I mean, other people know what it is. But the thing is, it's for them is inconclusive.
Sure.
But for me, that's what researching is all about.
Sure.
When in doubt, throw it out. But when you have something that is so unique as that, you just have to, put it aside and say, hey, we're going to get other people's opinion and see what they think.
Okay, but
And
now,
it's so.
according to the skin color that you described, do you think it could be actually from the Native American descent?
No, sir, I don't think it is. See, the thing is, scientists think that they have did so many experiments with like primates and things like that type
Right.
deal, and they think that they figured out they have like 98% or maybe like a 94% of all the species that dealing uh, with with monkeys and gorillas and things like that type deal. All the monkey families and things like that. They think that they have basically uh, identified them all, and they're
Wow.
and dealing with man, they believe that they have completed the majority of it. But
Now,
I believe like this. I'm thinking that there's something here in North and South America, and even all around the world, that people are just missing this one little missing link that we have that's actually roaming around, that we're going to have to try to find out and try to prove to the scientists that that this thing is real. You know, a photo is not going to do it. I'm going to tell you like this. I'm sorry to say this, but a photo is not going to do it.
right.
Yeah,
What's going to do it
but there's no
is
way
DNA.
you ain't gonna capture
And I
it.
believe that killing it. I don't think that
No.
killing is no, but you can get other ways to get samples from DNA
Sure.
than killing.
Sure. Like
But
like you and I were talking with a dart, with a hollow dart. You know,
Yeah,
let the dart hit it, and it will collect DNA. It'll collect flesh and hair and everything, and then the dart will fall out. You collect the dart, and the creature runs off, and you've got your DNA sample of a living creature.
right.
Has anybody ever tried to where they think they've been ran along on the ground collecting different samples because you
Yeah.
know they're going to have to leave something.
Okay. Well, let me say this. Have you ever heard of Jimmy Chilcott?
No.
Jimmy Chilcott was a police officer. He's retired. He was a professional expert not only on human fingerprinting but primate fingerprinting. And what they did was they got a cast of a track, and
Uh-huh.
he looked at that track. Now, there's things called dermal ridges,
Right.
which are your fingerprints, I guess, but you
Right.
also have them on your feet.
Right.
Yeah.
And on humans, they run one way. On primates, they run another way. He came out and point blank said that these things had a diagonal, I believe it was, dermal ridge. Anyway, he says this creature exists and it is unidentified. And this came from a police officer that is a professional and an expert on prints.
Uh, Balding,
Yes, ma'am.
could they possibly be in Washington, the state, um, like around the army base up there?
Man, these creatures could be anywhere. I mean, these creatures
Well, I
could
know
be
that.
anywhere. And the thing is, again, Oregon, all those northern states for sure. The fires now that are going up there right now, I believe that they're probably flushing
Running
them
them
out,
out.
probably going to a different state, or probably even going further south. And they basically need to get away from danger. And so the
Yeah.
only way that they could get away from danger is from going down to the forest area. And the only thing that protects them is basically the forest. They can't go
Yeah.
into a city or a town or whatever.
Right.
Uh, and but the thing is, again, basically the forest basically protects them,
Now,
and they basically know that. So as
now,
long as
Baldy,
there's a big forest around,
correct me if I'm wrong,
they're
Baldy,
safe.
but hasn't there been a sighting in every state except Hawaii?
I heard, yes, sir. I believe that's correct.
I'm thinking that's what I understood too. Even in Kansas and those Midwest states that are open fields, I actually heard that there've been sightings in every state except Hawaii. But Hawaii has something that's like some kind of little forest creature, but it's not a Bigfoot. It's like a little foot almost. If you listen to the way they talk about it, it's weird.
I think they call it the Yahweh, don't they?
That's Australia.
Oh,
Australia, the Yowies,
Yeah,
Australia,
Australia.
and then you have the what is Russia? The Hmm. Yeah, Yahweh's is Australia.
Australia.
Because Russia, it's called the I can't remember what it's called in Russia now. Save my life. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. I just can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Shaky, do we have any questions on the people watching?
No. Red said that they're also in Myrtle Beach, and it's not because they're on vacation. I don't know. Red, you're welcome to come up here and explain that if you want. But South Carolina, I'm sure they have them on in certain parts. I'm a firm believer, and like I said, this is all hypothetical. It's until something's proven, it's a hypothesis. But I firmly believe that they use streams, rivers, and power lines as highways, and that's how they travel without being detected, because a lot of that goes through areas where there's very sparse population.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe in the streams like down in Texas, a lot of their streams, they have minnows, they have crayfish, they've got the clams. There's a lot of things, a lot of food for them. Plus, they have the water source there. So, Red, what were you talking about with Myrtle Beach? Do you know something, or?
Yes, actually, I do.
Well, please share it.
When I was just a kid, my father was stationed down at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the Air Force. We all would always go down to what they called the duck pond, because the name kind of gives you the reason why it's called that. We always went down there. Well, there's my sister, my two oldest sisters, my brother, me, and some of their friends. And we always went, just walking in the woods. Well, one day, my older sister let out a scream, and she said, "Run." So we all went running. Of course, they left me behind.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, I'm a little kid. I can't run that quick.
Yeah, they need a sacrifice, Red.
At the time, I was going to be the sacrifice.
Exactly.
But we tried to explain it to our parents, and of course, our parents thought we were a bit on the cuckoo side. Well, now cut that out, Papa Rocks. I knew you were going to say something smart.
Yes, ma'am.
He's about ready to.
Hi, John Doe. Come on in, John Doe. We're talking about Bigfoot tonight.
Yeah, it's not pick on Red, of course. They'll probably end up that way. Anyways, the next day, my mom, she worked at the laundromat there on base, and one of the MPs came in, and he had his uniform and all, and he was explaining how they had chased something in the woods the night before. He said it was not a bear. He had never seen anything like it ever. But it had went up to some person's home there, off base. It was like kind of backed into the base, and it was trying to tear the door off.
Yeah, that's I've heard that before. That's not an uncommon story.
And so they explained to my mom that they had chased this thing nearly all night long, and they just could not keep up with it.
And that doesn't surprise me, because these things are wicked fast, and and they've been called the ninja of the woods for a reason. Hold on a minute, I just realized somebody else is here. Pastor Gordon, I need a picture. I need to see you. If you can just show me on your, if you want to keep your picture you have up there, you're more than welcome to, but just let me see that you're a real person. And I'll let you put that back up before you come up. I don't know if they can hear me or not.
There should be. Oh, maybe they muted their YouTube before they.
No, it's muted. He says, I'm real. I'll tell you what. I'm sorry. I did that. Well, let's see what you got to say. Come on up.
One day I was hunting a Bigfoot. I saw him, but it was just a Mexican, and he ran across the border.
What now? Oh. You know,
something about a Mexican running across
I think
the border.
I think he thought it was a Mexican running. But you know what, Baldy, you can testify to this. How many border patrol officers have we talked to or heard of that have had incidences with these things, and also the illegals coming across have had issues
Many.
with Bigfoot. And look,
Many.
I got to run in and get something at the house, Baldy. Tell everybody here of some of the stories that you've heard, if you don't mind.
All right.
Hey, before you go, Shaky, that one that you brought up in chat just now.
Yeah, it was a troll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. They're gonna come and go. We're used to it in the Bigfoot community. God bless him, and I hope he has a better night somewhere else.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. All right. The thing is again, because the most important thing here in this show is trying to educate the public. You know, that's what the show is all about. And some of us have a little bit of information that we basically share with each other in order for us to prove that this creature is real. And we're not hoaxers or anything like that. We just tell it the way it is. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
That's
the way I
right.
see it. And people may not like me or anything like that, but I call it the way I see it.
That's the only way you can do it.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And this is see, the thing is again, when people actually cross the border, I heard so many stories of people these illegals actually encounter Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And they would be so terrified when they're out in the woods at night. And there's sometimes that they even turn themselves in to the border patrol
To get away from
can't
it.
stay there because they just basically can't take another day there.
Well, you know, if they were up there, out there, anywhere near any Sasquatch or Bigfoot at night, and they turn themselves into the Border Patrol, I think that's a great thing. But if they were out there with them and they didn't get hurt, they didn't get attacked, that tells us all that they don't want to hurt nobody. They just want to live.
Well, my grandfather, my mother's father's father,
Hey, Rob.
my great grandfather, he was a park ranger at Camp Creek State Park there in West Virginia. You may have heard of the park, Shaky.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he would always tell kids growing up that if you treated the woods with respect, it will treat you respect. But the first time that you disrespected the land, it would come after you. And I truly believe he was talking about a Bigfoot. I truly believe that. He was a very...
I think, you know, why can't man leave the creatures alone?
Because it's not man's nature to do that.
No.
Everything man comes in contact with, man has to hunt to its extinct. We've seen this enough through our lives, and that's the way. That's man's nature. Real quick, Rob, Almasty. Almasty is the name of the Russian Bigfoot. I was trying to think of the name of the Russian Bigfoot. Yes, they can be called Yetis there, but they're also called Almasties. And you know, I want to point something out. The guy who thought he was being funny in the troll actually brought up a very big topic in the Bigfoot community and didn't even it didn't do nothing but help the conversation. He wasn't even trolling. He couldn't even troll right. Oh man, people crack me up.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, my grandfather, like I said, he was very serious about that. I mean, he lived, the bricks are still standing, but the house, of course, is not. They lived on top of that mountain. And there was, and these are stories that I've heard. Tom has said that there's stories where I've had great cousins go up into these woods, and they said it's just like everything would change. Everything just got quiet and
Yeah,
peaceful.
that's a sign of a big predator. When everything goes silent, that means
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
something
but
big
the other
and
animals,
fearful.
the other animals walked up to him.
Yeah.
Like they were greeting him.
Yeah.
They may have been. Some creatures are just the rulers. And I can see Bigfoot being a ruler in the forest,
Well,
being a ruler wherever he homes.
there's a lot of people that are on the side of it being supernatural, that it being a space alien, that it being something, a creature that can change in between dimensions, and there's a lot of theories out there, but without the proof, it's just a theory. That's
I
the
do
thing.
not. I do not believe that it's some alien from space. I do believe, or maybe not so much believe, but do theorize that Bigfoot is another species of human that had not evolved like the rest of us.
Sure. Well, I don't believe we evolved, because if we evolved, then why are there still monkeys? I mean, I'm gonna stick to my religious boundaries on the
Right.
on evolving, but we don't know every creature God made either. And there's a lot of people that believe these things are Nephilim, the result of the Nephilim, that the angels came and bred with humans. So they were supposed to be giants, and so there's a lot of theories. But
I mean, well, look at the Mothman. People think that's a hoax. I do not think so.
It's not a hoax. It actually happened, and even in the 1918, somewhere like that, that there was actually a creature that was actually seen in a town, that they would see it at night, and they would illuminate a light, and they actually believed that it actually was leaving the coal mines, and they actually blew the coal mine up, and the creature never came out. So
Yeah, that was actually in West Virginia, I do believe.
yep. Now, the thing is that and then Shaky was also told me, to let y'all know some stories about illegal aliens across the border, about encountering creatures and stuff. I believe in the 70s or 80s, there was a big war in Honduras. I believe, I want to say it was, where some town in South America, and people were migrating to the United States to basically to get away from the battle and the war, and and these certain gentlemen came to the certain ranch, and which I was which actually worked on, and so there was four of them. And they started telling the story when they started. There was actually five of them, and they started telling about all the terrains, everything like that type deal, and everything what they went through. And when we found them, they were actually real bad off with cuts and scratches, and poor, hungry, and they were in bad shape. And so we went up there and fed them a little bit and everything like that type deal. And then they basically.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're fine. You're fine, Grandma.
Who expects
then,
a call from a scammer on Sunday evening?
And then after that, so we asked him, there's only four of y'all, so what happened to the fifth one? She goes, well, we were actually crossing through this ranch, he said. And we heard this terrible scream, he said. And they scattered, he said. And then all of a sudden he heard one of his friends like getting beat up, and they were saying that it was the most horrific yell that they ever heard in their life, dealing with somebody in pain and agony, and then all of a sudden they didn't hear him anymore. And then they waited until sunlight, and so they went over there to try to find him, and there was bits and pieces scattered basically all over the place. And then so they just left him there, said a prayer because there was nothing left of him. And so after that they
What
came
they could
through.
do?
Huh?
There was nothing they could do.
Yeah, nothing they could do.
There's nothing they could do, so they actually went
Nothing they
on
could
and
do.
everything like that type
Right.
deal. And so they said when they ever decide to find jobs or anything like that, they would contact their family and let them know what was going on. Actually, let them know what happened. But the fear and the way that they reacted and the stories that they told and everything like that, it was just it was mind-boggling. Again, I mean, we don't know what happened to him. They don't know what happened to him. The only thing that they all were agreement on that there was this yell that happened out there that it was undescribable. He said.
Yeah, but why would they have even attacked him if it hadn't been provoked to begin with?
Because the thing is, again, maybe again, we just don't know. I don't know personally what could have happened. Maybe he might have stumbled. They might have stumbled into a female with a baby. Again, we just don't know, because the thing is, again, there's sometimes mamas, family members will do anything to protect their offspring,
That
and
is true.
maybe this could be one of examples of something that would happen to actually protect their offspring.
Now,
Well,
Baltimore.
even human animals are humans.
Now, Baltimore wasn't there an Indian tribe, a Native American tribe that referred to them as the giant cannibals?
There was I don't remember about the again. I like to do some research on that. I mean, there's so many stories out there
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I just can't think of the tribe right now.
Red, I'm gonna tell you a story that I tell everybody, and if I've already told you, I apologize, but it has a meaning to it.
Howdy, Warren.
My great grandfather caught my grandfather reading a Buck Rogers comic book, and told my grandfather if he ever caught him reading that comic book again, he was gonna whip his rear end. My grandfather was born in 1905. My great grandfather was born in the 1800s. My great grandfather was a lawyer, was a Maryland state senator, was a superintendent of Calvert County Public Schools. He was a very intelligent man, a very well-to-do man. He was not a dummy. And he told my grandfather he was going to whip his rear end for reading that comic book. And my grandfather said, "Why?" He said, "Because this is a bunch of crap, son." He said, "Man's never going to go to the moon. Man's never going into outer space. Man's never going to do any of this stuff. It's a bunch of hogwash." Now, my great grandfather passed away in 1946. In the 1960s, we went to the moon. We went to outer space. We did everything. He didn't think. What I'm getting at is, because we can't comprehend something in our mind doesn't mean it's not possible. It doesn't mean it can't happen. So just because in our minds we can't grasp something changing between dimensions or coming from outer space here or anything else doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means that we can't open our minds up enough to comprehend it.
See, I agree with you. I mean,
So-
you know me well enough, Shaky, that you know some things that I don't actually quite advertise a lot.
To research Bigfoot, you have to go in with an open mind and really look at everything. You can't just go in saying, "Yeah, it's flesh and blood. It's this, that, and it's that. That's what I'm sticking to. That's the end of that. That's my thing." That's not a researcher. You've got to go in and listen to all these stories. You got to listen to what everybody says, what everybody's witnessing. You got to come to your own conclusions.
Damn right.
But you've got to be willing to open your mind to anything. And that's the thing. If you can't go into it open-minded, then don't go into it at all, because you're not going to be able to ration it. It's
Well, Shaky, you know how open-minded I am.
well, no, I'm just saying, I'm not saying this to you directly. I'm talking to everybody here that's listening.
Okay.
It's not. I just used you as a reference. I mean, I'm sorry, but I wasn't referring to you personally. All I'm saying
I
is,
just got one thing to say, Shaky.
Did he deserve raspberries?
I gotta tell y'all something. I got asked a question the other day, and
hold on a minute.
and for some reason,
I see the boss lady up in here. Let me get her in the stream here. I am honored. I'm not worthy.
Oh, give me a break.
Go
I
ahead,
had a
Baldy. I'm
yeah. I
sorry.
had somebody asked me if I think that Bigfoot crosses dimensions. I think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going, and I thought for a little bit, and I'm going, and I said, it goes, I don't think he does. He goes, and they asked me,
I warned.
why, what's your opinion? Why don't you think that they cross dimensions and everything like that type deal? He goes, well, I'll tell you like this: if he does pass dimensions and everything like that, why does he want to come back here on this dimension? Well, it's this place here is infested with fleas, is infested with snakes. If he crossed a different dimension, and then where he cannot be disturbed, why can he be there? Why does he have to come here in this state?
Yeah.
So the thing is, again, that's why I believe that I think it's more or less like a human that that we have not identified yet. But I mean, and his characteristics are like, again, like we always say, Shaky. They're like convicts out there in the woods.
Okay, I have a counter to that.
Go ahead.
That's a good point. I have a counter to that. But who's to say that they don't cross that dimension? Because who's to say that on the other side of that dimension, it ain't worse as it's not.
It's worse than what it is here. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't know.
But again,
they could
that's the
also
thing.
be curious about us as we seem to be about them. They're like scientists.
Again, it's basically the unknown. We just don't know the unknown. Again, we have to know. Just imagine if somebody would actually catch. Well, put it this way. Let's say, for example, that I caught Bigfoot in a cage. Let's say, for example, and I locked that cage up and everything like that. Tried to put a lock on that sucker and make sure that that thing did not come out. And then all of a sudden, he disappeared. Then I would come up there and my thing would change. But again, I think it's more or less flesh and blood. I mean, all the witnesses cannot be wrong. They know what they saw. But again, I don't think that it would disappear and go to another dimension. That's my thing.
Mary, did you have something you wanted to talk about?
This type of stuff interests me because I believe that it's true, but also like taking that and expanding it and thinking outside of the box, so to speak.
Sure, you have to. I'm sorry, Mary, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did. Can you
go
hear
ahead.
me okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, I believe in Bigfoot because when I was 10, almost 11, I was up at my cabin and there was not really many homes or cabins or anything up there at that time. And my father and I used to hunt when I was a kid. So, I used to go wandering through woods out there. I mean, there was lots of woods and streams and creeks and you name it. And I ran across Bigfoot. My dad swore that I was dreaming, that I had to be on some kind of drugs, or it was a deer. But I'm telling you, I saw him. And he or she or whatever you want to call it was very tall. Of course, I wasn't real tall at that age, but it seemed like they were like 20 feet tall, but no. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually, to me, had like a coat, but longer, like a deer, with the orange and the brown.
Right.
That's what I remember. Face like a human to me with hair. But the noise and the smell, I'll never forget it. They make weird noises, is I guess my way of putting it. It was like a grunt, but it wasn't a grunt. I don't know how to explain it. That's why my dad thought I was having withdrawals or something.
I would call them Wookiees. I would call them Wookiees because they make a sound like that. That's how Star Wars depicted a Wookiee.
Did you know that when they filmed that movie, that actor had to be escorted with people and wear orange during that filming in the redwood forest because they were scared he was going to be shot?
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Huh.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they filmed Star Wars, they all were he had like several people that had to be around him at all times wearing orange. I even believe he had to wear an orange vest, and everything had to be secured because they were filming in the redwood forest on part of those movies. And they were worried that a hunter was going to shoot him thinking he was an actual Bigfoot.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, when this
Yeah.
happened, guys, it was like in the late 60s, early 70s.
That's when they
We didn't
filmed it.
have that kind of makeup or whatever at that time.
No.
You know what I'm trying to say? It
Yeah.
was Bigfoot. There is no question in my mind. It was him or he or whatever. And I ran like a bat out of hell, and I never went back in the woods again without
Oh,
somebody
wow.
with me after that.
Don't blame you.
That the dude that played the Wookiee, Chewbacca, he was actually over 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he just passed away.
Did he?
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I believe he was from England.
He was. He was my very favorite character in that movie. He was complicated, but yet he was simple, and
Yeah.
he made me think of Bigfoot.
Yep.
Well,
Let me
yeah,
tell you one thing.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Let me tell you one thing. When I was knee high to a grasshopper, I was always in these woods. I'm talking about the age of 4 and 5. I was always into these woods. And when the 18, 19, 20s, my 30s, always in the woods. It goes, where's Baldy at? He's in the woods. He goes, call him. He goes, well, I can't. Blah, blah, blah. He goes, he'll be back like around 6. Basically, that's my time when I normally get home. But the thing is, again, once you have your experiences of seeing the certain creature, and then actually hearing it, and all the experiences that you had with it, and then it does something to you about going into your woods. Because I normally used to go to the woods by myself, and now I don't do that. So the thing is, again, it's like when I go into these woods, it's a whole bunch of giant oak trees and everything like that type deal. And again, it's I still go in there, but again, I have a different philosophy and in my mind. I basically I'm always armed when I go.
Yeah, me too.
And second, I'll always take my kit with me, my Bigfoot kit. I have my bags. I have my microscopes. I got my just in case if I find something unique in hair samples, I always have these things with me. So again, if something changes in you when you have an event where you actually seen the creature and listening to so many other people telling their experiences. Right now, I'm sitting by this old bridge right now. Sometimes you will see me looking and in my rearview mirror and everything like that. And this area where I'm sitting at right now, there have been over 45 different reports of Bigfoot. Wow. So, and
I know where you're sitting too, brother.
Huh?
I know where you're sitting.
Yep.
I know where you're at.
And that's why, again, that's why there's sometimes you see me looking over my mirror, the mirrors and everything like that, or going outside, is to just making sure that and to maybe show y'all, hey, look who's here. So again, you just never know when this thing was gonna come out. So.
Hey, I've been on an hour, and I promised Jackie I'd watch a show with her tonight at 9. Let me ask y'all a question. Would y'all like to do this again next Sunday night?
Yes.
Continue it.
Sure.
Yeah, because I want to know what's in that big kit. That's got
Before we went live, Baldy and I were talking, and I told him that I was thinking about doing this twice a month, just doing a Bigfoot chat twice a month. But I don't mind doing it more than that. I just don't want to burn it out. But if y'all want to keep going, if Baldy is up for it or whatever, or if y'all want to continue this next Sunday night, I have no problem doing it.
I'm game. Let's do it.
I'm game.
It'd be cool to get some trail cam photos.
Well, if he sends them to me, if he still has his pictures and sends, if he doesn't mind sharing them, I can share them on here because I got that share option. But it's up to him.
Sure.
No
I'll share
pressure.
whatever I got. And you can even show them the real sandy balls, the ones I found out over here.
Yeah, you got send me
different?
those pictures on Messenger because my phone, I will not get them until I get to town or somewhere. I don't know why. I can get text messages, but not pictures.
Okay.
I don't through my internet, through my Wi-Fi. So I don't know.
All right,
But
well then I'll
anyway.
let you go. I say next Sunday.
Thank you, Mary. All right, yeah, next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel.
Amen.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Great.
All right. Thank you
All right.
very much, y'all, for participating. I appreciate y'all coming in.
Good night, everyone.
And
Good night, good night,
I-
everyone.
I
Sweet
still want
dreams,
to know
everybody.
more. I still want to know more about that Bigfoot kit.
we will
That-
talk about it next
like-
Sunday.
That spiked my
Yes, ma'am.
attention. I was like, oh, I'm
Good.
gonna know.
Good. Hey, to be continued. Cliffhanger Sunday.
Sweet dreams, y'all. And God bless.
All right.
All right, Pepper. Thank you.
Good
My
night,
mama got
everyone.
2 grandsons up here.
Yeah, and he ain't far
And
from you.
and they're both good looking.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Hey, you me smacking for you, Baltimore?
You're
Baldy's my brother.
closer. Go ahead.
Baldy's my brother. We go back. We're good.
We go
All
back
right,
a lot
y'all.
of years, Shaky. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, I'll see y'all next Sunday. I love y'all. God bless you.
Love y'all
Thank you
too,
so
Shaky.
much.
Bye bye.
Good
All right,
night.
see ya.
All right.